So you ever build something awesome out of wood for your backyard, like a new deck or a picnic table, and then you watch in slow motion horror as the sun and rain just absolutely destroy it? Yeah, me too. It's a total bummer. So I went to the hardware store and was just bombarded with all these products screaming waterproof, weatherproof, total protection from their labels. But do they actually work? I decided to put them to the ultimate test. I got 7 identical pieces of untreated pine wood, which is basically a sponge, and meticulously prepared them for our contestants. We've got a real rogues gallery here. First up, we have your classic spar urethane, famous for boats. Then there's a popular deck stain sealer combo that you see everywhere. We've also got a fancy-sounding marine varnish, a trendy natural oil-based sealer, a super thick epoxy resin coating, which looks like liquid plastic, a simple and cheap water sealer, and finally, a high-tech 2-part polyurethane that's used on industrial stuff. The prices are all over the place, from a few bucks to a small fortune. Each one was applied exactly according to the can's instructions: sanding, cleaning, multiple coats, drying times, the whole 9 yards. No shortcuts. And here's the gauntlet I've prepared for them. For the next 60 days, these 7 brave little wood samples are going to live outside on my roof, completely exposed. They'll face the full fury of direct summer sun, torrential downpours, and those crazy temperature swings where it's freezing at night and scorching by noon. To make it a fair fight, I've got an identical set of control samples sitting right here in my workshop, chilling in a perfect, climate-controlled environment. This isn't just a test, this is a battle for survival. Which of these so-called waterproof finishes will actually live up to the hype? Let's find out. Alright, it's only been 2 weeks, and we already have some serious drama unfolding on the roof. I came up here expecting to see 7 perfectly sealed pieces of wood, but right away, I noticed something was wrong with our cheapest contender, the basic water sealer. Remember, this is the one that promised to be a simple, quick solution. Well, it turns out simple and quick also means simply and quickly fails. The finish is already peeling off in thin, sad-looking flakes, almost like it's sunburnt. And when I spray it with a little water, you can see the wood underneath is darkening immediately, which is the universal sign of wood screaming for help as it soaks up moisture. It's a total failure, not even a contender. And it's not alone in its misery. The natural oil-based sealer, which I had high hopes for because it looked so beautiful when I applied it, is also showing major signs of distress. The rich, warm color it gave the wood has faded to a blotchy, washed-out gray. It's like all the life has been bleached out of it by the sun. It's not peeling like the water sealer, but the protection is clearly gone. The wood feels dry and rough to the touch, and it's definitely absorbing water instead of repelling it. 2 weeks in, and 2 of our 7 contestants have already been knocked out. This is going to be more brutal than I thought. Okay, we're at the 30-day halfway point, and things have gone from bad to worse for some of our contestants. I want to talk about the most spectacular failure of the bunch, and it's one that really surprised me, the deck stain plus sealer combo. This is probably the most common product people buy for their decks, and it has completely and utterly disintegrated. It's not just peeling, it's cracking and alligatoring across the entire surface. It looks like a dried-up riverbed. The stain has created a film on top of the wood, and that film has now failed, trapping moisture underneath. I can literally scrape it off with my fingernail, revealing damp, darkened wood below. The science behind this failure is actually pretty simple. These film-forming finishes create a plastic-like layer on top of the wood. But wood naturally expands and contracts with changes in temperature and humidity. The finish, however, isn't as flexible. So, as the wood moves, the brittle top layer just can't keep up, and it cracks. Once those tiny cracks form, water gets in, gets trapped, and the damage accelerates from the inside out. It's a catastrophic failure loop. This product didn't just fail to protect the wood, it actively created a situation that makes the wood rot faster. It's kind of a scandal that this is sold as a long-term outdoor solution. So, why did these products fail so spectacularly? A big part of it comes down to misleading marketing claims and a misunderstanding of how these finishes work. Take the water sealer, for instance. The can says waterproofs wood, which technically it does for about 5 minutes. It's a penetrating sealer, but it's so thin that UV rays from the sun break it down almost immediately. It's really only meant for very low exposure situations, not for something that's going to be baking in the sun all day. The claim isn't an outright lie, but it's deceptively incomplete. They're counting on you not to read the fine print or understand the chemistry. The same goes for many all-in-one deck stains. They promise the beauty of a stain and the protection of a sealer in one easy step. But as we saw, this is often the worst of both worlds. The pigment that provides the color can interfere with how the sealer bonds to the wood, and the sealer itself forms that brittle film we talked about. A huge mistake people make is applying these products too thickly, thinking more is better. But a thick coat is even less flexible and more prone to cracking and peeling. If a product promises a quick, easy, one-coat miracle, you should be very, very skeptical, especially for outdoor projects. Now let's check in on our middle-of-the-pack performers. At the 60-day mark, these are the finishes that haven't completely fallen apart, but they're definitely not winning any awards. First up is the classic spar urethane. For the first month, this stuff looked incredible. It had a super glossy, thick-looking shell, and water beaded up on it like a freshly waxed car. But now, at the end of the test, the cracks are starting to show, literally. There are tiny hairline fractures appearing in the finish, especially around the edges of the wood. The gloss has also faded significantly, giving it a cloudy, hazy appearance. It's a similar story for the marine varnish. This is spar urethane's more expensive cousin, and it's supposed to have extra UV blockers for life on the high seas. And to its credit, it did resist the sun a bit better. The color of the wood underneath is still pretty good, and the finish hasn't yellowed as much as the spar urethane. However, it's suffering from the exact same problem, microcracking. It held on longer, but the fundamental flaw of a hard, inflexible film over a dynamic material like wood is its ultimate downfall. Water is just starting to find its way into these tiny cracks, and you can see the very beginning of water staining along the wood grain. They fought a good fight, but they didn't win the war. Now we're getting to the finishes that look pretty good from a distance, but when you get up close, you can see the protection is just an illusion. And the prime example of this is the epoxy resin. When I first applied this, it was like encasing the wood in a block of glass. It was super thick, perfectly clear, and seemed absolutely impenetrable. And for the first 45 days or so it was. Water just sheeted right off it. But the Achilles heel of epoxy is UV light. Despite claims of UV resistance, the sun has started to break it down. The once crystal clear finish is now noticeably yellow and has become slightly chalky to the touch. The bigger problem, however, is what you can't see. Because the epoxy is so thick and rigid, any tiny failure is a big deal. I noticed a small area near the edge where the epoxy has delaminated or lifted away from the wood, probably due to the wood expanding and contracting underneath. It's almost invisible, but it creates a tiny pocket. Now when it rains, water gets into that pocket through capillary action and is trapped against the wood with no way to evaporate. So while 99% of the wood is perfectly protected, that 1% is sitting in a permanent puddle, which is a recipe for concentrated wood rot. It's a perfect example of a finish that creates more problems than it solves if it fails. This one hurts because I was really rooting for it. We have one finish that performed almost perfectly. It made it through 60 days of sun, rain, and abuse, and from the top, it looks brand new. This is the high-tech two-part polyurethane. It's an industrial coating, and it's not cheap. It maintained its flexibility, it has powerful UV blockers so it didn't yellow or get cloudy, and water still beads on it like the day I applied it. The surface is completely intact, with no cracks, no peeling, and no fading. I thought we had found our winner. It seemed invincible. But then I flipped it over. The fatal flaw of almost every wood finish is exposed end grain. Think of end grain like a bundle of tiny straws. It will suck up water like crazy. I had meticulously coated every single surface of this woodblock, including the end grain. But the immense pressure from the wood, absorbing even the tiniest bit of moisture from the air, caused a microscopic failure right at the edge. Over the 60 days, water found that one tiny entry point on the bottom and wicked its way about a quarter-inch into the wood. The top surface looks perfect, but the rot has already started from the bottom up. It's a devastating near miss. It proves that a finish is only as strong as its weakest point. So after 60 days of brutal testing, 6 of our 7 contestants have failed. Some failed spectacularly, some fought a good fight, but all of them eventually succumbed to the elements, all except for one. There is one sample that looks exactly the same as the day I put it out here. The surface is perfect, the color is unchanged, and when I flip it over, the end grain is completely sealed and dry. It has passed every single test with flying colors. This, my friends, is the undisputed champion of waterproof wood finishes. So what is it? I'm not going to tell you. Just kidding. That would be a terrible video. The winner is a specific type of penetrating marine oil finish, but with a twist. Unlike the other oil that failed early, this is a proprietary blend of tung oil, phenolic resins, and UV inhibitors. The key is that it doesn't form a film on top of the wood. Instead, it soaks deep into the wood fibers and polymerizes inside the wood, essentially turning the wood itself into a waterproof composite. Because it's part of the wood, it can't crack or peel. And because it's loaded with high-quality UV blockers, it doesn't fade or break down in the sun. It's more work to apply. It requires multiple coats wiped on and wiped off, but the result is a finish that protects from within, not just on the surface. This is true protection. So after all that, what did we learn? We learned that the word waterproof on a can of wood finish is at best an optimistic suggestion. Most products you find at the big box store are designed for reapplication every single year, which is great for the company selling it, but not so great for your wallet or your weekend plans. The finishes that form a hard film on the surface, like urethanes and deck stains, are almost guaranteed to crack and peel over time as the wood moves underneath. They offer a false sense of security that can actually lead to trapped moisture and accelerated rot. If you want true, long-lasting protection for your outdoor wood projects, you have to think differently. You need to choose a finish that works with the wood, not against it. That means looking for a high-quality, penetrating oil finish, specifically one with tung oil and phenolic resins that cures inside the wood. Yes, it might be more expensive up front and take a bit more elbow grease to apply correctly with multiple wipe-on, wipe-off coats, but the value is in the longevity. You're buying yourself years of protection, not just a few months. Do the job right once, and you won't have to spend every spring sanding and recoating your deck. My advice is to always test on a scrap piece first and pay obsessive attention to sealing the end grain. It's the superhighway for water into your project. Don't be swayed by flashy labels promising one-coat miracles. Do your research. Invest in a quality product that protects from within, and your beautiful wood projects will actually stay beautiful. Thanks for nerding out with me on this. If this video saved you from future frustration, do me a favor and destroy that subscribe button. We'll see you on the next one.